Previously on Follow the Leader. Today we're playing Blackborough Academy by Becky Annison. For those of you who are new to this game, here are the basics. You play a group of teachers at a magical school, the Blackborough Academy. You are all friends and fought on the front lines of a war against the Shattered 15 to 20 years ago. Now you look after the next generation and hope they don't ever go through what you went through. Shepherd the next generation of teenage magicians whilst fighting back an old evil, the Shattered, confronting your past and evading the school governors. The first rule of Blackborough Academy, protect the students. This is your fight, not theirs.
Okay, I will be playing Seshmir Narash, known to the students as Professor Narash and other teachers as Seshmir. He uses he/him pronouns. Seshmir is a blue-scaled dragon person with flat silver eyes. He has a tail but no wings. He favors pale gray suits and an overcoat and some form of hat. He spent years as a private investigator before turning to academia, mostly to hide from the cult he accidentally created.
I will be playing Marius Thank the Gods for Small Favors. Professor favors to students, Marius to other teachers. They are agender and use they them pronouns. They are a short and willowy person with long brown hair that they keep in an elaborate braid. They tend to wear formal robes even when not teaching. They choose to look this way because they have a strong sense of propriety, at least at a surface level.
I have pulled across Apricus the Luminary. Uses he/him pronouns. That is, Professor Apricus or Apricus. He's a mononym. No one calls him Mr. the Luminary. Please don't do that. He would think you're strange. The way that he looks, he's got tan skin, brown eyes. He keeps his hair oiled back and carefully trimmed and maintained, along with a groomed goatee. His clothes make him look like a poisonous animal between his bright red robe and acid green accents up and down. And he also has the leather accessories of a dabbler in the alchemical arts, including a bandolier, a belt, a satchel, and a very good pair of thick leather boots.
So, I will be playing Morden Ferida, that's Mix Ferida to students, Morden to the staff. Mostly mask individual who uses he/him pronouns. He has light tan skin, dark brown hair, almost black, threaded with silver that falls around jaw length, and dark eyes, usually hidden behind blue-lensed glasses. In dress, he favours modern clothes as opposed to traditional wizarding robes, in blacks, dark blues, greys, and purples, and more silver accessories than is practical. And he dresses like that because he is that bitch, as I have written in the notes. He is just that bitch.
And I will be playing Alive and Awake for the first time on this podcast, Edward Park.
Woohoo!
I have asked at least once for my colleagues to call me Ed, whether or not they do so, or just call me Edward. We'll see. Ed is a Korean man, just above average height, but a bit on the weedy side. He's got black hair that comes just below the chin, that's usually gathered into a top knot. He's got stubble. He does wear the formal robes. They're hemmed to a practical length. He would describe them as black robes with gold accents. Most other people would describe them as gold robes. And I feel like the bylaws say that the head teacher has to wear blue. And so he's got just like a blue wristband that he wears.
Now, that having been said, Baroness Cartwright, I appreciate your interest in the goings-on here, but I do have a fair amount of work ahead of me remapping the ley lines in the place with the disturbance and seeing if we can quell said disturbance in a timely fashion. So, if you will excuse me.
Yes, of course. Your time is, I'm sure, quite valuable, but our responsibility, you understand, yours and mine, is to the safety of the students.
Of course.
It has been difficult to take the goings-on of the school on faith, especially with Arcady gone. I'm sure you understand.
Arcady was a superlative head teacher, and once they return from sabbatical, they will once again be... And Marius is definitely floundering here. They will once again administer this school with aplomb.
Well, I know the other governors share your optimism, but we can only wait so long. I look forward to speaking with one of the two of you again quite soon.
Of course. That feels like scene.
Yeah.
Marius runs off to... I can't decide if they go to tell Ed what happened or if they go to drag Apricus and Seshmir back to the ruptured ley line. Be like, you made this worse, you're going to help me fix this. We now return to your game, already in progress.
All right, so the next day,
Yeah.
we all gather for the morning staff meeting before classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice and early. It's still dark out. And as all of us are there chatting, one of us, I'll let someone throw out their name, notices that the sun is late.
This feels like a pointed thing.
It sure does, bud.
Sounds like you got teed up. Nice.
It does rise, but it's like 5 or 10 minutes late.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think we're all chatting, the morning coffee situation or what beverage of choice is. And like Apricus usually has this habit anyway. He's in his element. He likes watching the sunrise. That's just what he does. So he's like looking, and it's at first it's just one of those things where you're just kind of like, yeah, okay, it's maybe just the clouds or something. But then he like pauses in the middle of a conversation and like just carefully draws out a pocket watch from his coat. It's like looking between that and the sun, and like he's drawing a figure in the air and trying to get a sense of like, he adjusts the watch, he looks at the sky, he readjusts his watch, he checks against a different one in his pockets to make sure he's not losing it.
All right there, Chicken Little.
I think I'm all right, and I think that's the problem.
Okay.
Okay, look at this. Apricus will hold up the two watches and then sort of gesture out to the window as if someone will understand what this means.
Sure is first thing in the morning.
That's the thing. The morning should have been happening. He'll pause for a second and then go pull out like a board from one of the sides of the room, spin it over because it's one of the ones that he uses for his classes, and then slap a hand against an upside down sun chart. Like, it's one of those ones where you see like, oh, this is the time according to the season, and this is where the sun should be in the sky, kind of one. Just like, wham. Do you see the problem here?
Marius is like so frazzled looking, and they say, the problem is it's morning and you're asking us riddles. Be plain.
Okay. And he'll pause, turn around, and notice that it's upside down, so he has to do sort of like the thing where you flip it back over, then turn it around again. Right now, it is about 7:40 a.m. Now, if I were to put down a sundial, or just going by the shadows of the room, or going by my watch, and he'll hold it up, we would be able to note, clearly plain, observant in the sky, the sun is lower than it should be.
Ah.
Anyone? I'm going to go try and figure that out.
You're going to figure out the sun.
Well, yes, I always try to figure out the sun, but... Look, what's it? One thing is a coincidence, two things is a trend, three things is a problem.
I can't argue with that, but the sun rising late is, cosmologically speaking, a bit larger than you or I. Or any of us.
I mean, in the scale of the celestial dance of planets, perhaps it is, but the sun does not simply rise late 10 minutes distinctly from one day to another. So
Well, doesn't...
either we've been misplaced somewhere out there in the orbits, or something else is a problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't the
fact-
problem not so much the sun is late, but we're early?
I hate thinking about that, actually.
Are we like orbiting faster than we should, or slower than we should? Or is this an us problem? The school, I mean.
You mean localized?
Maybe we're just perceiving it differently. God,
Oh,
if we're
dear.
untethered from time again. I hate time.
Artful use of again.
Thank you. Look, there are many adventures that have happened over the course of our teaching at this school. We had a Groundhog Day situation, all right? It was a whole thing.
Love it.
Like that one Stargate episode more than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think Apricus will look towards the sun, and I'm going to blow a token here to have him flip up that eye patch, look directly into it, and try to get the truth of the matter at the moment.
Are we aware that your eye does this? By the way.
That's such a good question that you've asked here, and I don't know the answer to this.
Because I don't know whether, did we all just assume that maybe there was something wrong with it? It was not working as well, and that's why, or that you just decided one day to have an affectation of the piratical nature, like.
How do you all feel when you see a floodlight suddenly blasting forward from Apricus's skull, looking at the sun?
Huh.
Huh.
Ed lifts his coffee cup to his lips with his left hand nonchalantly.
How long do you think that's been going on? As we're all just sat on the other side of the room, just watching.
Oh, have I not told you before?
Oh, take a guess.
That would involve somebody in this department other than me having above basic communication skills.
Fair point.
Sorry.
Excuse you.
Yeah, no, your apologies, Marius. Didn't realize you were there.
Fully willing to accept that just at face value versus hang on a second.
No. That's quite right. I think it's just like Ed and Apricus are the ones in view. So Marius is slightly further back. Just like, oh, yeah, no. Apologies.
Hey, Richard, what the sun doing?
What that sun do? Is it localized to us? Is it the sun moving slower, etc.? What's fun?
What is fun?
By fun, I mean terrible. You like fun, right, Richard?
Uh-huh. It does appear to be local,
Okay.
but it's not that the sun is rising late or moving slow, because it's on track with where it should be now that it's up. It's that the night is getting longer,
Oh. Oh no.
and the day just kind of squidged aside to make room for it.
Take your token, Richard.
Please, yes. Well, I'm glad Marius got a little more sleep. And actually, I think that's what I'll put up. Hey, did anyone's alarms happen to trigger early?
Not mine. Why?
Okay. Puts hands together. I think that it's not that my watch is off. He'll take a moment to put the eye patch back on so he's not blinding everyone else when he looks at them. I think there is currently more than 24 and some odd hours in the day.
Great.
Is this making sense?
I assume we're not just talking in a I hate Mondays kind of sense.
No. No, I wish that is what I was talking about. But no, I think the day has literally lengthened. Or rather, the period before the day has literally lengthened.
Someone has added time to the night in which to be unnoticed.
Sesher's like, yeah, I'm just going to say no. That doesn't make any sense. That's ridiculous. No.
Oh, these things just happen to you, Sashmir.
No, these things don't just have to be. These things just don't happen.
I don't know what to tell you. It seemed to arrive later, and it turns out that it's actually on time, but there's no other real explanation unless we're cosmologically displaced. There's some sort of strange field around our immediate surroundings, or someone has literally inserted time somewhere.
I want to make things worse, but I'm not the GM.
You should make it worse anyway.
You can
make it worse anyway, yeah.
You get a token when your teacher makes things worse.
How does Marius specifically make things worse in this moment, actually, then?
Well, no, it's not Marius making things worse.
Were you going to have a student listening at the door as well?
Oh, God.
No, I was thinking that a bird smashes into the window.
Oh, yeah. I propose both.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it happens and we all, like, jump, but there is a squeak or a clatter outside as whoever was listening at the door has fallen over in surprise.
Oh, that's great. But who is listening outside?
Whoever we want.
I vote either Cassie or Soleil. Cassie could potentially be worried because, she's at the mercy of a cryptic prophecy, and then Soleil because Soleil does not care for the rules.
Soleil just wants to help so much.
Yeah.
Let's... no, I like it being Cassie, and also because if she's not had the owl wings that long, like, I can see it being very easy for her to stumble when surprised, like, because the wings react and pull her backwards without her realizing.
Huh, yeah, seeing all this bird stuff happen.
Yeah, by the way, I don't think I said that on mic. I just kind of put it in there.
It's very good.
Cassie has owl wings. She just gave
Owl
herself those.
Wait, this bird stuff is probably even more upsetting then.
Yeah.
A whack, a squeak, a bird down the pane, the fluttering of wing beats out in the hall. Only one person it could be.
Oh, who's going after Miss Knowles?
Zesher's like, oh, this is perfect. We're being bombed with abominations. The night is getting longer, and now the chosen one over there heard our whole conversation. Great.
Okay, I'm going.
Yes, we need someone who's going to be nice about it. Tactful.
Morton has sort of... Morton basically sachets out of the staff room as is his way. Not intentionally. His hips are just like that. It's very David Tennant. Very David Tennant in the hips.
Love it.
I want to reach back on a thing with Marius.
Mm-hmm.
Did they take a second to make sure everyone else noticed the bird?
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. And I think Marius sets down their coffee and is just like, we should get that before the students find it. Just in case.
Yeah, Ed just straight teleports out of the staff
I was
room.
gonna say to Session, just lean out the window and yoink it.
Yeah, that sounds legit.
Hell yeah. So let's take score of our strange happenings for a moment, just to review all of our interesting hooks. Bird problem.
Bird problems.
Just drawing a big circle around bird problem. Severed ley line. Night is longer.
Well, I like out of character, and I suppose this could transition to another scene where we're like conferring and talking about this. And this might be sort of Edward and Morden, who sort of have that very granular approach, albeit in different directions. Something severed the ley line, and it makes sense that that initial eruption affected the bird, or the bird was used as a means to sever the ley line. And with the energy pouring out, it is somehow causing time dilation within this area, within that ley line.
I love a unified theory.
The question is, something just... You don't just sever a ley line accidentally, right?
No.
Implies intent. Something put enough sauce behind that pitch that it fully ripped through one. Maybe something coming from, the other side of a barrier, maybe?
Please don't say the other side of a barrier. Well, no, please do say the other side of a barrier, but,
You ever... Morden chuckles a little, in that sort of humorless sort of way. You ever ping on somebody's bra strap or the back of their underwear? Just me?
Apricus gesturing to himself.
You ever fire an elastic band, and I demonstrate with when you hook the band over the back of your thumb, and across your pointer finger, and then just fire it?
Oh, classic idle trick.
Yeah. What if something in a different place was able to pull on that ley line, stretch it to a point of tension, and then release it hard enough that it snapped? Like it was trying to pull its way through, using the ley lines as handholds.
You can't believe that.
Why not?
I think the silence is in character, because I don't think Marius can bring themselves to say what they're thinking.
Look, I appreciate that ley lines are your thing, Marius. I really do. But we learn new shit all the fucking time about what's possible. I mean, 100 years ago, everyone thought light acted a certain way. And then along came Albert, and he was like, oh, actually this. And then it was proven to be the case. I don't like the implication of it any more than you do. But not saying it, not voicing it out loud, isn't going to stop it being true, if that's what is happening here.
Sashmir? Sort of like sidling over.
Yes.
Do you happen to know of any great beings that could rip the magical lines of the earth from the earth?
I'm not sure how scales go pale.
Maybe it's like a chameleonic sort of response.
Oh, immediately turned the color of the room, actually?
Yeah, but also just like, you know how like when certain blue things oxidize, they go that sort of pale, dusty looking color? Like maybe it's like they take on that slight sheen or a patina almost for a moment.
Yeah, there are things that can do that.
It's just sort of gesturing forward. Like?
How many of them are things that we've seen before?
He's doing this kind of weird head waggle, shoulder. One of them.
Is this one of these instances where you probably shouldn't say the name out loud?
I mean, I don't know its true name, so...
It's always
Yeah,
fascinating.
right. Morton's just like, great, true names. Fantastic.
But yeah, there are any number of, you know, some call them elder gods, some call them great old ones. And our little friend from a while back may have been one of those, really. It's just a theory, though.
The game theory.
Oh, thank God I wasn't the only one thinking that.
You're welcome. I really don't want to entertain the possibility. But now that I've unfortunately helped with breaking that one into the room, and Seshmir has identified that it is... at least likely.
Alright.
Possible. I'll grant you possible.
Okay, we'll say possible.
Regardless, I think we're going to need to fix that ley line. Because at the moment there's a gap? A hole in the fence, as it were.
Yes. I've done the best I can by myself, but I am going to require some assistance with a working to try to stitch things back together.
Seshmi, you're good with like domestic stuff, right? What have you got in the way of mending stuff?
I mean, I've got several simple cantrips that could, mend a torn fabric or splice a split rope.
Right,
But if we, amp that up
Mm-hmm.
10,000-fold.
Exactly. Right, and I think more than like gets you to sort of like either write down or show the components and how you cast the various mending spells and starts like, like those sentence diagrams you have in English, like starts like indicating which part of which is doing it and like figuring out how you can alter it. I don't know how many of you have seen that post like talking about how there's competitions to invent like new kanji and stuff like that they do.
Yeah.
But that and just looking at, okay, if this is the somatic element and this is the words, how can we take what there is here and expand on this? God, I love fantasy bullshit. It's good. I'm having fun. That's Jade. Morden is probably less having fun, but is also kind of in the element.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to combine mending and counterspell in this case.
Yes. Glinda was right. Just like yes. And starts adding elements from that, and we see this thing is starting to look less like a sentence diagram and more like a quadratic equation. Like it's getting longer and more complicated.
Marius reluctantly peers over Morden's shoulder and just goes, no, that's going to cause problems if you approach it like that. And they like produce a pen from their the sleeve of their robes and make a couple of markups and say you can't treat the fabric of reality like you can treat linen.
Marius, you just wrote on a whiteboard with a permanent marker.
It's 7:58 in the morning. What do you want from me?
I would have went that as the scene. I just... Rock on. Oh, hey, once again, this group of 5 wizards has got to do a magical ritual. I'm sure
Great.
this will bring up no
Yay.
memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we also have to maybe figure out how to question mark the students. I guess that is the general question, right? Like Ed and Morden have put out a bulletin about like, hey, don't do this stuff and maybe stay away from here. How's the student body been doing with that one? How's our 4 inquisitive, not fully matured magicians dealing with this one here?
I mean, especially given how well Apricus has marked out the area, it's going to be real easy for the kids to find where it is.
True. It turns out to ward an area is also to indicate where the area is warded.
It's big, like this is not a place of honor.
God. Like all of the symbols, everything. Oh, geez.
I mean, I am all for, and it's great because I'm none of these characters. I'm having a great time of just, we cut and the next scene is just these 4 students stood around the barrier to this rip in the ley line. Especially if it's like a match cut, like us gathered in the staff room working on this board, and then it like match cuts to these kids at the barrier. It's just like starting with, look, we all know that if the teacher is more than 10 minutes late to the lesson, you're allowed to play hooky.
Yeah, we're totally free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess I'm GMing this scene. You guys can play the kids.
Soleil, Mary, excited, wanting to do a field application. First to broach the outer barrier. He's pointing ahead at the wards that Apricus has set up, lighting up, going off, doing the best that they can to sort of stem the flow of magic. Hey, look, you see all that over there? As he indicates back to the others.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard not to.
Do I see the magical glowing fence with the glowing light behind it? Yes.
What if, hear me out, what if we fixed it? And he's already like reaching into his coat and pulling out like focuses, like tools. You know those scenes where like it's the club opening and tools and knives and stuff start spilling out.
Mm-hmm.
This is Soleil with magical gear. It's spilling out of his coat.
How much of this is his and how much is it stuff that he has pilfered from various classrooms in the school?
Smile.
I got a setup question. What did Morden say to Cassie?
Yeah, what did Morden say to Cassie?
What was the vibe?
I think what Morden said to Cassie was along the lines of, I appreciate that was a lot of scary shit to hear. Do you have any questions? How can I make you feel better about what you just heard? Because I appreciate it is scary as heck. And sort of would walk her back to where she's supposed to be and just answer questions. And it's sort of like, he answers her questions honestly, but she would probably be able to pick up on the fact that he's not telling her everything. even if she knows, like, he's doing it for her safety, it would probably still be like, I know I'm a kid, but also, like, I know you're doing this to keep me safe, but also, I don't like it.
It's Cassie just, like, hovering slightly above at the back of the group.
Literally hovering?
Yes.
Gotta clarify these things.
Very unconvincingly says, well, the teachers said that they were fixing it already.
I mean, do you see them out here?
Maybe we could do it for extra credit.
Yes, exactly. Like, if we show them that we could fix this thing, then we could, like, learn more advanced stuff, you know?
Or at least, pass your class. Parker looks a little sullen for a second, but then perks up. Yeah, I mean, it's just ley lines, right? I mean, ley lines are simple.
And it's all field experience. I'm pretty sure I've always heard that you need to experience some of these things for yourself to learn how they actually work. Like, at least 5 or 6 times. I think with that, Soleil's going to start handing out tools to everyone. And it's, like, an eclectic combination of, like, dowsers and, like, wands and staves and just random ingredients that he's managed to snag.
I love the implication that his coat is magicked or is enchanted, that he can pull a stave out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Just full on Mary Poppinsing it out of these pockets.
He's a toolsman.
It's good is the thing.
You have to have extra dimensional storage.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I'm just not there as a fellow student to call him a tool after he says he's a tool.
Okay. Now, what do you all know about counteracting things like this? Because I got the equipment, and, like, I know 1 or 2 things. And in fact, as he says that, he'll swing a hand out, and some of the tools that he's dropped will start to animate and dance into place.
Is that something that he is doing intentionally?
Yep.
Okay.
For now.
Well, we've got to get through the wards, right? Like,
Probably.
to get down and dirty, we should get through them, but I don't know. I've never busted through a ward before.
We're gonna break through the teacher's wards so we can put up better wards? So we can put up better wards?
No, so we can fix things.
Yeah, so we can close the ley line.
Yeah, it's like a band-aid, but if we take the band-aid off and stitch it up, it'll be fine, right?
Yep. Full confidence.
Carrie sighs. It's not like, tying it back together. We've got to, still allow magic to flow through it. It's like an artery, not a rope.
Well, where's it going to flow through to?
Where it's always flowed. It's leaking now. It's clogged. We need to clear the clog and tie it together, but in a way that still allows the flow of magic. Otherwise, it just backs up and explodes.
He's, like, patting around his coat. He does not have a map. Okay, well, I guess we could just join it to somewhere in the earth.
No, I'm doing well in Professor Favor's class. I know where to look. Carrie's gonna tell us what to do. You're gonna use the tools to set it up, and I'm gonna do the magic. The professors don't like the way my magic works, but it's probably the best shot we have.
Sure.
It's different.
What do you need me to do?
Well, you're gonna help Soleil.
Okay.
I think you're all able to, between your skill sets, do the equivalent of, like, throw a sleeping bag over the top of the barbed wire fence and are able to sort of, with your combined skills, get into the warded area. I think as you start moving around and figuring out what to do, I don't know who notices it first. What kind of owl are Cassie's owl wings?
Barn owl.
I think I know what that one looks like color-wise. I am double checking. Perfect. Alright. You don't notice, but the color of Cassie's feathers starts changing. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Professor Narash's familiar, but they sure as fuck look more like crow feathers than they do than owl feathers. And the longer...
Soleil doesn't know bird stuff.
But if Cassie is flying, I think she would notice a difference in how the wind feels. I don't know what her relationship to them is like, but the feathers are getting that sort of glossy quality, and her being this close to the outpouring, as it were, is changing the nature of her wings.
Unfortunately, she does not have the owl neck, so while she's flying, she can't exactly look very well.
To turn your head 180 on demand. Okay. Maestro, your knowledge, if you please. And Soleil holds up his hands, and all of the tools stand to attention. He'll reach out and sort of gesture to Parker to do the same, just like help with getting the tools in order.
Yeah, Parker follows suit and is just eagerly awaiting instruction.
Are you telling me Parker is just happy to be here?
Oh.
Sorry.
Alright, so you take the ley line here, and you take it here, and start stitching it together along this side, but not all the way through.
Okay.
What happens if we do it all the way through?
It creates a great blockage that builds up pressure and then explodes.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we
All
won't
right.
do that.
Not all the way. I think with that, Soleil spins out the other hand, somewhat clumsily, because now he's helping manage part of it, but also more than just like a few hammers and an anvil. A suite of tools will shakily assemble themselves into sort of a line as they start to burrow into the earth and make a channel to sew the currently spurting out ley line into. Hey, how's Parker do with this also?
So, Parker usually has problems with their magic because of personal issues, but he's just so focused on feeling useful that he's actually able to push past that for now. So I don't want to say he's having a good time, but he's having a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Mm-hmm.
so I would like to posit that while we're working this close to magic, like, the smell of ozone is nearly unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also like to suggest that there's just a vague hint, depending on, like, which way we're facing, just the vaguest hint of something cloyingly sweet.
Good shit.
Oh boy. That smell of rotten fruit.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to throw something out there. I'm continuing to make this darker and increase the pressure. There is a scene in an episode of MASH. I saw an analysis of it the other day, and they're doing like open heart surgery or heart surgery on this soldier, and Hawkeye is literally having to hold a pinch the arteries closed while they work so this guy doesn't bleed out. And they're having to pour ice over Hawkeye's hands so he can keep doing this and just like make the blood flow as slow as possible. And he is in so much pain but doing so. But as Cassie steps up and is starting to like, however her magic works, Schrag, I doubt if she's like intuitively like pulling on threads of something to do this. I think as she's doing this, it hurts. And it is like, it burns so hot, it's freezing, you know, like, just to refer back to like, you know, or it's so cold it burns. I don't think you can tell. But it hurts. And I think this is when everybody notices the feathers that were slowly like turning black, almost like a dip dye sort of thing, like the black was seeping up. Now it's happening rapidly, and you can all see it.
To put a button on this before we go back to our teachers having the climactic scene, as I would assume we're getting to.
Yeah.
Is Cassie taken over by something as she begins pouring magic into this?
Oh.
I don't know if she knows it yet, but what if an extra set of wings just bursts out of her back?
Well, if her wings are already changing, I feel like that's...
No, but I mean, like, we're getting to Biblical Angel kind of visual territory.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I was also going to suggest that when she casts the spell, she ends up chanting in that ancient language.
Love that. Very good and upsetting.
Yeah. Extra pair of wings bursts out of her back. She starts chanting in a language she does not know.
That is bad to hear for everybody else. Not in the... not in the out of tune sense, but in the just like... It immediately makes... Like, what is it that certain frequencies are just upset, will make you feel bad. Like that kind of thing.
And I know I'm not the GM, but to suggest one more thing before we cut, I feel like her big brown eyes are subsumed by this flaming orangey yellow of just sunlight.
Great.
Yes, good.
Excellent.
We're all here at our respective microphones nodding like, yes, good.
Great, beautiful, wonderful, awesome.
And maybe that, so we cut to the next scene. Is this Marius feels this happening? And then Morden starts hearing the chanting. Mayhaps.
Yeah, I think there's probably another brownout almost.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it's just like there's something wrong. We have to go.
I think that's when Morden starts hearing it and just like, oh no. And just immediately is just chasing after Marius. Keep up.
Yep. Apricus pulling on the bag and just running. Full tilt sprint. And then he has to back up and grab the board and run with it.
Ed and Seshma, just sort of like chasing after.
Yes.
I feel like Ed's got panicked muttering happening. Like before it was the headmaster and the students had to fix it. They lost. How do we stop it? How do we turn it around? It can't happen like this again.
Good. Upsetting. So we all sort of make it out to this point on the grounds. How much worse has it gotten?
Oh man.
And how do people react? Like, here, like, Morden, obviously, so we've got Marius feeling what's happening with the ley line. We've got Apricus seeing sunlight pouring out of a student's eyes. We've got the crow theming and the iconography that is deeply upsetting, and everything that Session's like, I really don't want it to be this, but it could be this. And Ed with like just the implications and the history just like weighing down. Good shit. Shit's fucked.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think abject panic does not begin to describe the problem. I think Apricus is fumbling within his bag and bandolier to try and get just materials out. He's not even sure what. As he like shoves the board away with the foot to have the formula side just land up, pointing. I think in the background too, like Soleil is just frantically conducting because he's not sure what's happening. He's just got the sense that if he stops, things will go worse. And the tools that he has under his control are they're keeping pace, but they're moving jerkily, uncleanly, clanging and clattering as they try and finish the job of getting a channel through the ground.
I think Morden will catch hold of Cassie's hands and to the others like, one of you needs to cast this. I need to focus on this. And is going to start doing like a counter melody to what the chant is. So it's sort of like trying to like, if not change the meaning of what is being said, or not to stop it, but to change the meaning of it. Like in the same way, like putting emphasis on different words in a sentence changes the meaning. It's like that. And so Morden's voice is like interweaving with Cassie's, trying to whether it's, I think it sounds probably like summoning. I mean, Seshmit would know. It probably sounds like summoning, ?
Yes, definitely sounds like summoning, but also banishment.
Oh no. Oh no.
Because you're trying to hold off the thing that's coming in.
Oh, beautiful, lovely.
So you're trying to summon one influence at the same time you're pushing away a different one.
And the ground is rumbling because you gotta.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think Apricus just like throwing shit on the ground like runs over to the wards instead. He's pulling them back to, instead of using them to like fend off leakage, is quickly recalibrating them to instead take what is happening partially from the energy just blasting out from Cassie, but partially also from what is coming from the earth into energy to then power the ritual that needs to be cast.
I think Marius pretty much immediately twigs to what the kids who aren't Cassie are doing in trying to stitch the ley line back together, and just like takes control of some of Soleil's implements and just says, no, this isn't going to work, we need to do this, and starts gesturing with one hand to draw some of the magic away. And shoot, I'm trying to think of how to word this.
So, you know, what you're doing is a cable stitch, and what you really need to be doing is this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's trying to rearrange, realign, almost like preening. Since we're going with bird metaphors here, realign the way that the ley line channels are flowing.
Yeah, you can't force it to do a different thing. You've got to follow the lines that are there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll break them further.
And Seshmir jumps in with And it's not enough just to stitch it back together. We actually have to regrow its natural structure. And so it adds in the modified mending ritual that we have been working on. So that it grows at the same time we're patching it.
What are you doing, Ed?
Oh, good gravy.
Ed is flitting between all four of you, and just as he feels something start to falter, starts amplifying it by just replicating what you're attempting to do, adding to it, so that whatever needs bolstering can stay strong, so it doesn't completely fizzle out.
So, I have bad news for you,
Oh no.
all of you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't have any tokens for this magical working that I'm doing. So
Yeah?
there's got to be some unintended and serious consequences to trying to reset the ley line.
Of course.
Oh, cool.
Love that.
Oh, that's so real, though.
I mean, that.
But what if I spend a token?
No. We can have a good story, but we can do the thing. Let there be a fun, unintended, serious consequence.
Yeah, because it's successful. There's just unintended consequences.
But we do it. So we are able to
Yes.
reset the broken bone of this ley line, get the new spurts of growth around it. It's everything's connected up again as it should be.
Yeah.
Reinforced, stronger than it was before, much like a broken bone.
I think for the unintended consequences that we can see, I think, Cassie's wing transformation is probably permanent.
Does the second set at least go away?
Yes.
Cool.
But, her formerly owl wings are now crow/owl wings.
Crowl wings, yes.
Crowl wings.
Oh.
Holy.
That's my favorite Good Omen character.
Alternatively, they're just owl wings. Just ow. Oh no.
Ow. Oh, yeah. All right. I've locked on now. I've understood. Oh, no.
I think for unintended consequences that we cannot necessarily see and which will leave open for a sequel should we decide to do that at a later date. This was only ever a test to see if the Shattered could affect our world from its side. And now it knows not only that it can, but that its enemies are still there, ripe for the picking.
Love it. That's got to be the end of the episode, right? That's so good, August. Love that.
All right. Well, in that case, this has been Blackborough Academy by Becky Annison. I was thinking Jennifer Aniston, which is not the same.
It's not the same.
Blackborough Academy by Jennifer Aniston.
It's so not the same. I have been August. You can still find me on Tumblr at Strange Harpy, on Itch and Blue Sky at Harpydora, and I have been joined today by the ever lovely Richard.
Hi, I'm Richard. I can also still be found on Blue Sky and several other places as Corvus Azure.
I have also been joined by Cory.
Hey folks, I'm Cory. Fine to be here with you in your ears and also on Sagas of the Sunless Reach. Please listen to Hydra Delta Blues. I'm very proud of the work we've done on it so far.
We've also been joined by Jade/Coda.
Continue to find me on Jade Oxford Rose. I am also on the aforementioned by Cory, Sagas of the Sunless Reach. And if you want to hear more of Seshmid and Rash, there is 3 whole seasons, I believe, of his home story of Loom over on the room where it happened. It's a big old back catalogue. I've heard nothing but good things about the story. There's just a lot which I haven't tapped into yet. But hey,
There are shenanigans involved.
many shenanigans.
We love shenanigans.
But yes, or come over to the Discord and ask Richard all about Seshmir, and I'm sure he will be happy to talk about him.
And last but certainly not least, we have been joined by Schrag.
I've been Schrag. You can find me at the Secret Frog on Blue Sky. Go listen to everyone else's podcasts. Tell me you listen to them, and then maybe I'll finally listen to both of them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Extra motivation, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Alright.
You can also find Follow the Leader at FTLcast on Blue Sky and Tumblr, although I'm really bad at keeping up with the Tumblr. And you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/FTLcast. You can find bonus episodes. You can find outtakes and bloopers. There should be some pretty good ones for this particular arc. And
you should also check out the Standing Stones Blue Sky and our Twitch, Standing Stones Prod. We're looking to do, in 2025, we're hoping to do more over on our Twitch, and the Standing Stones Blue Sky is a great way to stay abreast of all the various projects that we're doing, so you don't miss out.
hell yeah. And on that note, I think we should clap.